Welcome to episode 25 of the Cards and Cartridge podcast.
Part two.
Take two. I'm your host, OG Retro, aka Ryan. I'm fucking up the intro now too. And I'm here with Chris, Koozie Retro Games.
Yes.
Guys, we did like half an episode and we forgot to record. So we fucked up. We're doing this again. Take two. How's your day, bro?
Good. So if you guys were in the clam sale last night, Thursday, we're recording this Friday on my lunch break. My hand is swollen. I got stung by something on Wednesday.
Like
I don't know if it was a beetle or a wasp or what, but I've been using ibuprofen and ice and Benadryl, and the swelling is not going down. It's starting to travel down the back of my hand. So I need to hit urgent care after work to figure out if I'm going to lose my middle finger or if I'm turning into Spider-Man.
He's turning into Spider-Man. Fun fact, and I actually didn't say this the first time we were recording. I knew a kid when I was like, I don't know, like 6, dude. I was in first grade. I knew this kid that sleepwalked, and apparently he sleepwalked and like put his hand in a blender, bro.
Don't tell me he turned it on.
I think he did.
No.
It woke him up, but he was messed up.
Dude, I used to sleepwalk, and there was one time we were in a condo in Florida, and
so you sleepwalk? That's crazy.
It's like I haven't sleepwalked in years and years.
Damn,
like,
do you miss
so
it?
I used to I don't know. It was always like small things. Like my mom would say, like I would like come into a room, like have a conversation with her, and then just go back to bed, and I wouldn't remember it the next morning. But the only like bad one that I had was we were in a condo in Florida, and got up in the middle of the night, apparently trying to go to the bathroom, but you know how like hotels have like the chain lock that you put on the door. So I'm sitting there rattling the chain lock, like trying to get out, and my mom thinks to my dad, they're in the bedroom, go see what's going on, go see what's going on. And my dad comes out, and I'm trying to get out the door, and he goes, what are you doing? I go, leave me alone, I'm going to the bathroom. Could you imagine how far I would have got out and just started walking down the street?
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
But that threw me off. But we got to talk about what we're talking about today.
Yes.
We've got a nice bolo segment for you, talking about a very weird item that Chris has brought up. We're also going to be talking about the importance of esports and how that relates in effect to like the younger generation. Will it overtake traditional sports? You know, baseball, basketball, your soccer, are those things going to be taken over by Fortnite, Rocket League, League of Legends? And how do you think the next generation will value collecting? And when I say next generation, we're talking about people that are like, you know, infants now who will be collecting at our age, so like 25 years. What will those kids be doing? And also, Chris is going to be talking about time management and time management in regards to reselling specifically. And lastly, to round this episode out, we're going to be talking about what we think makes something a collectible or makes something collectible for us, maybe. Chris, tell us about the Bolo.
So our Bolo of the week, Bolo stands for be on the lookout. Come at you guys one of these each week. So it goes along with Zelda Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. So Ryan, you know how traditional Game Boy manuals are larger than Game Boy Advance manuals?
Yes, sir.
So there is a special version of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. It came bundled in with an ice blue Game Boy Pocket, a Target exclusive. So it comes with the game and then a smaller rectangular manual, like a Game Boy Advance style manual. So I randomly made a local pickup last year, 2 years ago, and it included everything but the box. So it had the system, which has got a special serial number that you can tell it goes with that box because collectors are weird. It had all the inserts, the game, and the rectangular manual. Personally, I did not think anything of this when I picked it up until I posted it, and a large collector hit me up and he goes, hey, there's something special about that. So he explained to me how it came bundled with that specific system. So I posted it in a couple Facebook groups, and a guy hit me up and he's like, hey, I'm interested in that manual, that rectangular manual. I needed to complete my ice blue Game Boy Pocket. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to value it at, or would you trade? What do you want to do? And he goes, I actually have a complete in-box copy of Link's Awakening on Game Boy. I'll trade you my complete in-box copy for your manual and the paperwork that goes with the Game Boy. I was like,
smooth dealings, bro.
All right. I mean, I paid $20 for everything. So like, why not just trade a manual for a complete in-box game? So I was like, all right, made the trade, Went to my local game store the next day and found another copy of the game with the special rectangular manual.
Ooh.
Caught them slipping. They didn't know the difference. I now knew the difference from the day before when I made the trade.
Hell yeah.
So I still have that in my collection.
That's a good bolo. And I think we were talking about when we first recorded, the bigger bolo is check your local game stores, homies, because sometimes they be slipping.
Yes.
And Chris takes advantage of that often, I feel like. So
yeah.
Very nice bolo. I'm gonna be looking for that small manual now.
Crazy. Just, you know how collectors are with their
They're nuts.
no trademark symbols. The
We're a little weird.
Period is 2.5 millimeters away from the other one. Yada
Right.
yada 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 yada.
Right. It's interesting. What about the importance of we got into a lovely topic before. Let's get into a lovely discussion before. Let's get into a lovely discussion again about the importance of esports in video gaming and how it relates specifically to the youths.
So in the first, sorry if you can hear my dog barking for the 25th episode in a row. That's what happens when you're recording in the basement during your lunch break. But so you were asking me, do I know what esports are? Yes. And it's crazy like how big they've become. I was talking about how my college recently got an esports team, and it's like an official like college team. Like before, it's just like clubs where you get together with a few buddies, play Fortnite, and you call yourself a club.
Yeah.
But like this is an actual team where they have a coach and they have a schedule. Like we just recently played University of Central Florida in Rocket League. And like that's crazy to think that like colleges are now going to be recruiting for esports, and like people are going to go to specific colleges like they do for football based on their esports team.
That's insane, and it makes sense honestly, because it's I mean, according to this article here in Insider Intelligence, it's like a $5 billion industry and growing.
I don't doubt it.
Growing every year, with some of the teams, I mean, making hundreds of $1 million a year and being valued at crazy numbers. So it where there is money, you know, stuff like that will continue to grow. Those technical difficulties, we're back. I unplugged my monitor like a bot, but we were talking about the esports industry, how it is absolutely massive, and how specifically the kiddies, you know, the youth are valuing it over, you know, regular sports. Like,
so yeah, you brought that up in our previous tried to record, but we didn't record. And you asked me if esports do I think will ever overtake regular sports?
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think it could. I mean, for example, there's been so many changes to baseball recently because people don't have the attention span to sit down and watch a baseball game.
It's ridiculous.
For example, they have a pitch clock where a pitcher's got to throw a pitch every X amount of seconds. Or now in extra innings, they start with a runner on second, which I hate that rule.
It's so weird.
But esports are like, I think it could overtake sports, especially in the younger generations where the kids don't have the attention span to sit down and watch these sports. And one thing that I thought of, and I've heard like examples of before, it's like the older generation really doesn't understand esports yet.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I hear like older generation, like, why would you sit there and watch somebody play Fortnite on YouTube? Or why do you want to watch a tournament for Call of Duty? It's like, I don't know, Larry, the same way you want to sit down and watch Phil Mickelson play golf, or the same way we want to sit down and watch the New York Knicks play. Like it's what you watch what similar. Is enjoyable to you.
Right. And I was talking like I enjoy watching like competitive video games. Like even like I could even watch like video games I don't really even understand and still find it. And I think that is like when you can get that mass appeal, like, because sports, like when you break down sports, right? Like people like them because of a couple of things, right? There's like being a fan of something is fun. Mm-hmm. Like having a team, right? Like having something to be passionate about. That's exciting.
Yeah, try being passionate about just Detroit sports.
Yeah, that's
pressed every day.
Right. But then then you also have just like the feeling, the like the dopamine hits of like watching, you know, your team do well, or like the excitement of like a player making a incredible play. Like that's exciting. So what it breaks down is like excitement, happiness,
You're also learning
passion.
you're learning strategies and how to get
Right,
better at it by
right,
watching, and that
right.
transfers
If
over to
you
esports also.
right, if you play those specific games, totally. But like purely a fan element, right? Like purely fan element, esports have all of those. Like it's so exciting watching some of these like high level people like be good at what they're good at and do it like even if you can't fully understand because like I'm like I don't know all the rules of hockey, for instance. I love hockey. I don't
Yeah.
know all the rules. I know most of the rules, but like maybe a better example is like I know even less about tennis or
Yeah.
golf or soccer or like those three sports. I don't know much. But like it's the same way. Like I don't know much about the game League of Legends or the game Warzone. But like I can watch high level like esports competitions of those games and be entertained because it's like exciting because you know when someone's doing well and you can even if you don't if you have the very little knowledge. It's like if someone knows a little bit about baseball and knows what a home run is. Like that's a
Yeah.
very like they can get excited about that.
They feel
And
the
it
intensity.
exactly. And it's the same way as like you can know like what like how much an elimination means in like the last 2 minutes or whatever, or like the final storm. It's
Yeah.
like that's exciting, and people that don't even know everything about the game can understand why that's exciting. And
No, I
so I
totally agree with
I
all
think
that.
that's I think that's just why like it's like a long-winded way of saying it's the mass appeal is like coming, and I
And
think
it's gotten so popular so fast too.
yeah,
I mean, you talked about like there are $1 million tournaments. Like this isn't
yeah,
something that like just a kiddie thing anymore. And I
right,
mean, ESPN's posting highlights on their Twitter and Instagram pages, and even on ESPN, like they're covering it.
it's crazy.
Gary V owns a Warzone team out of Minnesota Rocker, Rokker or something like that, OR. But Gary V owns an esports
I did
team.
not know that. That's wild.
Dude does everything.
Yeah, that
But
makes
we
sense.
talked about in the previous try to record, it's something that like the opportunity is there. Like
Yeah,
kids can actually make a career out of this now. Like when we were
right,
younger, it's a lot of get off the video games, go outside and play type deal.
right.
But now like parents are seeing that you can make a
Yeah, there's a
career out
lot
of
of
being a
value.
professional esports player. And even if you're not good enough to go to esports, you take it the opposite where you do streaming
Mhm.
and like you can make the money and make a career or a side hustle from yourselves out of streaming.
100%. There's like I was saying, like I wish this stuff existed when we were kids because it would have been so cool. Like it's just so cool to be able to have access to all this crazy technology and like be able to be creative with it.
I still
Um
feel like I'm so young. So this is one of the things I could say, like, I wish we had when I was a kid. Cause it's
yeah,
like we did not have this stuff as a kid.
no, it's wild. And technology is just going to be like that.
So I think with the growing of technology, the popularity of video games in general, we're going to see esports grow. And like it gained so much popularity during the pandemic because when other sports couldn't be played, esports could.
Right.
Do you know
No,
if
it's a
there's
good.
legalized betting in esports yet?
I don't know. I couldn't say for certain, but that's a good question because that would also,
Wait till betting gets
yeah,
legalized. You're starting seeing betting line up on FanDuel or DraftKings. Like
yeah,
you're gonna
that would
see popular.
really,
Anytime you bring more money and more stuff like that into it, you're gonna gain popularity. Because then the people don't even care really about the teams; they're just caring about the betting aspect. But it's bringing more eyes on the sport.
I'm sure there's stuff like that. There's gotta be. That's wild. This is a good segue actually. How do you think the next generation, so kind of the same people that maybe start, so like literally like let's call them like 3-year-olds right now. So that generation that's gonna grow up in like 20 years. So like how old we are now, you are. How do you think those, so in 20 years, how do you think people will value collecting of that age?
So it's something weird to think about, and I can already see myself segueing into the next topic of what makes something a collectible. So I mean, we can
Mhm.
kind of even combine both into one, but I mean, like there's things like what makes something collectible. Like we're seeing like GameCube and like PS2 prices rise right now because when we were kids, like those are the systems we played with, GameCube and PS2. So now that we're older and we have access to what they call adult money, we have the opportunity, and we're collectors, so it's different. But like even just like random people, like my buddy who's the same age as me, he texted me the other day and was like, "Hey, I found my old GameCube at my parents' house. Do you have a copy of Twilight Princess for sale?" And I was like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. I mean, he works for a big company. Like, I'm going to hook him up with a price. But even if he didn't have me, he would still go on eBay and buy Twilight Princess. So it's like he wants to relive his childhood, play what he had as a kid. So it's going to be like, do we see like these younger generations collecting Switch and PS5 in 20 years when it's quote unquote retro?
No. So it's not, we're talking about kids that are 3. They're not growing up with the PS5 and the Switch. They get the console after this life cycle.
Okay.
I don't think, and this is why this is important. I'm making the age very clear because it's important for this point I'm about to make. Is the next generation, like truly the next generation, I don't think they're going to value physical media at all.
Yes.
I think the current generation barely values it.
Yes.
And I think the next generation and the generations to come will value it 0. So I think that produces, or that creates the problem is, or not the problem, but maybe the difference. Like, I don't think they're going to be collecting in the traditional sense of what we think about collecting. Like,
they're gonna be collecting NFTs.
Yes, exactly. They're gonna be collecting NFTs and alt currencies and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe it's like crazy, not wishful thinking, but like just
so
like,
I think there is gonna be those specific people, those off people, using myself as an example. So I collect video games, and like I like to collect PS2 and GameCube and Wii. I grew up with that, but I never grew up with an NES, or I never grew up with a Super Nintendo. I really didn't know what it was until I started collecting. But now I collect it because I collect video games. So I think you are going to see those people that still like to collect the physical retro stuff.
Right.
What do you think is going to happen to this physical media, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, yada yada yada, up to like Switch? Let's use the Switch as a cutoff. What do you think is going to happen to this physical media when these 3-year-olds start collecting at 22 and everything's digital? Do you think that the collectors now are going to be less, like us now are going to be fewer and farther between? We're going to lose interest. We're going to sell stuff off for various reasons. Do you think the younger generation can pick that back up and keep this hobby alive?
I don't think we're gonna see. Well, I guess it's really a question of like, yeah, like, will this hobby die with this generation? Like, how many generations can this hobby be kept alive?
Use Atari, for example. I mean, Atari's like dead because nobody all the people who played and collected Atari are now older, and the newer generations don't. I don't want to collect Atari. You don't want to collect Atari.
Does what have the prices on Atari gone up or down though? Like,
I would say down, but I don't follow Atari prices.
I wonder if we can check real quick, because Atari 2600, for instance,
like ColecoVision, VIC-20,
it's gone up, which is crazy to me. Overall price index for all Atari 2600 games, although here, interestingly enough, this is kind of weird. It spiked in 2012. It had like a massive jump from 2010 to 2012, dropped, and then has slowly crept up to almost those levels once again. Which is, I just think that's interesting because it kind of ruins the theory that this generation can't go the distance, or this hobby.
But I mean, we still have physical, so we have the mentality of liking physical stuff and playing physical stuff. So when you grow up with digital, I think that's a huge thing that's going to change stuff.
In other news, did you know there was a $32,000 Atari game?
Is it like Pepsi Invaders?
No, it's called Air Raid.
Air Raid. It's a blue cartridge with a red T, or with the blue T on top.
Yeah.
Yep, I know about it.
Damn, dude, I didn't know about that. There's a bolo. Don't
Yeah, look,
I literally don't even look at Atari lots, but I guess I have to now. There's
yeah,
a
look out for
lot of
Air.
holy crap.
Yeah,
Yo, Atari
Halloween's
26.
expensive, I think.
I'm an idiot. There's multiple $100 games for the Atari. What am I
I
doing?
always scan through Atari lots just because.
Yeah, there can't even like there's a lot of crap, but there's a lot. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Pepsi Invaders, the one you were talking about. $1,000 game loose. Insane. Okay. Don't sleep on the maybe that's why it's becoming more popular, but I don't know. I just think that's really interesting. And I don't know, like it's cool because I know for a fact like 10-year-olds right now are collecting things. Like the same 10-year-old I was ripping on before about being bad at baseball, or not bad at baseball, but being baseball's lame these days, you know?
Yeah.
He collects Pokemon cards the same exact way that I collected Pokemon cards, and they talk about it the same way that I talked
Pokemon
about it
cards
when
are
I was a
still
kid.
cool.
It's so interesting, like at like a anthropological level, right?
There's
Do
a
you,
vocab word of the week.
do you know what anthropology is?
Yes,
Like the
it's the study
study
of
of like
fossils.
no, it's like the study of human behavior
Oh,
in so specifically related to like social, you know.
all right.
So like at an anthropological level, like the way these kids collect cards is so similar to how we did it. And that's what's most interesting to me because everything else about these kids is so different. Like couldn't
Yes.
but the specific way that collecting has just like completely transcended that age gap more so than I think most things is so interesting to me.
I
And
think we're gonna see
that's what
the
makes me think that it can perhaps keep going, you know?
the thing that I just can't wrap my head around is like we grew up with physical, so we adore physical. They're gonna grow up with digital. So all they're gonna know is digital. They're gonna be like, why do I need these things that take up space? And you're gonna have
Yeah, eventually
the
there's
kids
gonna
who parents have collections, or they get their cousins hand-me-down Switch, something like that. So that might spark something in them.
that and okay, here's a little another question. Do you think trading card games like Pokemon, like Magic, like Yu-Gi-Oh, any of these popular ones, do you think we'll ever see them go all digital?
It all depends on how popular NFTs become. I mean, we're in the infant stages of NFTs.
Yeah,
So I mean, there's already like the online Pokemon card game with like
right.
the code cards you get in packs now.
That would be the death of that would actually be the if there comes a day when like they're not printing trading cards anymore, then we know like collecting's dead.
Yeah. Speaking of collecting dying, what is your end goal with your collection? Like, would you hand it down to kids? Would you sell it? What is your end goal with your collection?
I guess just die happy with it and yeah, hand it down to my kids probably. Or
Yeah.
if they're into it. If they're not into it, I wouldn't I'd like sell it and give them the money, I guess. Or donate. If I had anything that was like museum worthy, I guess I would donate it to like a museum or like
Yeah.
gift it to friends. Like I don't know. Like I just love collecting because it's all like my collection, I've said it before, is so tailored to what I
You.
like. So like it's it's just what it is, man. Like I want to always enjoy the things I have. And if I don't enjoy them, get rid of them. And and then yeah, like so yeah. I don't know. That's a weird question.
It's gonna be real, like I said, it's gonna be really interesting to see how NFTs play out and digital media plays out, because I think those are gonna be the two killer, you said, the two killers of physical collecting. There's
Yeah.
always gonna be collectors for people collect anything.
Yeah.
Dude, do you follow Thrift to Travel on Instagram?
No.
Give Thrift to Travel a follow on Instagram if you guys don't already. She does a lot of thrifting to pays for all her travel. So she goes on these vacations, but they're specific for like thrifting, and she specializes in like beauty products. Are you looking her up right now?
Yeah.
Look up at her recent post. You'll see it. It's a white cup with a
Oh,
bird on
everybody's
it.
been posting that. Yeah, I've
She
seen that.
found this white Ray Dunn white poorer something.
Yeah.
I don't know. She got it for 49 cents at a thrift store. She posted it on eBay. First day, it was up to $915. She received an offer day one. Would you take $2,000 for this right now? She turned it down.
That's
She's letting it
insane.
ride. People collect anything.
That's absurd. Throw a follow. That's crazy. Very, very cool.
So it's gonna
Wow.
be really interesting to see just like what happens. And
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be interested in it as much as we are. I really
No.
do. I see them losing. It'd be something cool, maybe like if you have your collection displayed and your kids, I obviously know what your collection is, but say they have their buddies come over for a sleepover and they just look at these foreign fossil objects that they have no idea what a Super Nintendo cartridge is.
Oh my gosh.
And
I
they make
can't
it like the
imagine
fun.
trying to explain to my future kid one day what a Super Nintendo is, like what a game, like discs, bro.
They're gonna be playing
Discs.
VR and then they go to an NES controller with two buttons.
Although it is interesting because Nintendo specifically, I think has like the Switch is so similar in a lot of ways. Like
Two.
everything they've made in the past. It's a cartridge based system, right? So
Yeah.
like you open up a little flap, whatever, you stick in a cartridge, same way. The Super Nintendo has a little flap, there's a cartridge. The buttons on a Super Nintendo controller are pretty much exactly the same as the Switch's buttons. Sub analog sticks, of course, but so it's almost like it's a very natural progression in the sense of shit's exactly the same. So I think explaining it to a kid one day actually might be pretty easy.
And I think they may get the fun of if you explain like when Mario 15 comes out and that time, just sitting down and saying like, oh, you want to play Mario Bros 3 on the NES, like the third Mario Bros game, like like they're probably like, oh my god, this is so cool. But then once they figure out you can't save, they're gonna be pissed.
But you could save in like Super Mario 64, and Super Mario World saves your game. You just can't save mid-level. So it had save games back then, just not.
I use the NES one for example, but
not as handhold. Okay, fair.
Yeah, and it's they'll get the fun out of it, but then like this is stupid. Put me back in my dude. We can get into another thing about like VR and like where's VR gonna go?
Oh, we're all living in pods soon. I mean,
yeah,
everyone's gonna live in a pod. We shouldn't. All of this talk is silly anyway because we're all gonna be in pods hooked up to the mainframe, and then you're not gonna do anything. You're just gonna get your food injected into you, your liquids injected into you. You'll be hooked up to the pod, and then your information will just sent into the mainframe. You'll download information. It'll all be hunky dory, and you're just a human vessel floating in this pod, and that's it. That's how you experience life.
What are you most excited for in the future?
Oh man, Koozie with the hard-hitting questions. Having a fam for sure.
No, I'm talking like flying cars.
Oh,
or like stuff like that. Like, where do you think technology's gonna go? Like, you hear all
I was
things
giving
like,
you
oh,
a
this is coming in the
sappy
future.
answer and just
No.
All right, well, fuck yeah. Most excited technology. Like, what do I want, dude? I want to fucking teleport, bro. Why can't we teleport?
Teleport.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Give me about 3 more days with the swollen hand, and I might develop that superpower.
Oh, you're gonna be swinging from webs. You already know that.
I think flying cars, space travel. Like, if we ever have I just saw this company is starting space travel, starting at $450K a seat.
Let's go, dude. Let's sell both of our game collections. Let's go.
Dude, space travel would be lit.
Fuck that shit. This is a good segue though, because if you could teleport, time management as a reseller would be easier, bro, right? If you could teleport. Yeah. Talk about why did you even put this on the list for us to talk about?
Because I was struggling to come up with things for the podcast 5 minutes before we started recording. So I figured we needed to talk about time management.
Well, that's awfully ironic.
Yeah, but so I just do reselling as a side hobby, but I wanted to talk about tips or tricks, or maybe you guys that do it full time or just as a side hobby also. If you guys have any additional tips and trick on how to run your reselling operation more smoothly or be more time efficient in it. So for example, one thing that I've been trying to do is it's hard to sit down and post things on eBay, and like it takes time, but like I'm trying to maximize the time of not just like sitting on my phone scrolling through TikTok or Instagram when I'm like on a long car ride, for example, or maybe when I go to the urgent care tonight and I'm sitting in the waiting room, like waiting. Like I plan to take some photos of things, just fill my camera roll with some
Yeah.
photos. Then when I'm sitting in the waiting room, I can
You
then
can
upload
list.
those photos and list.
That's a good tip. And it's so funny you said that because I actually did that recently where I actually took like I just did a bunch of nice photos with the DSLR, like, but
Uh-huh.
a bunch of product, a bunch of items I had. And then yeah, just to like have my inventory photographed, right?
Yeah.
So getting ahead and like I could even see myself taking a step further soon and photographing stuff as it comes as I get it, right? If I could
Yeah.
photograph
Creating a
it
separate album on your phone would help too.
exactly, if I could photograph, especially stuff that I know is going to eBay or Mercari, I feel like that's a no-brainer. Is
Yes.
photographing it as it comes in and then putting it on the shelves in the inventory, whatever, and then being able to just list when I have time. I think that would actually, like, we're figuring out solutions on air right here, right now, folks. That's a good idea and
And
something I
you were
might try and
bashing this topic 45 seconds ago.
it's true. It's true because no, well, here's the thing. When you're faced with your biggest insecurities, you're often when you're forced to face them, I mean, you often figure out like the greatest, I don't know, dude.
Psychology 101 with OG
Yeah,
Retro.
I'm trying to say something profound, but I can't quite come up with the words. Uh any other tips? Let
So
me
that's
think.
one that I liked, and it's like, I guess it's human nature to procrastinate.
Oh, I'm so
So
bad.
telling like if you got to work on, if you say tonight I'm gonna, this goes into like part two, like if you just list like 3 items a night, that's 21 new listings a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
So
been
I mean,
trying to do 6 a day, which is actually pretty solid.
that's good. And I
Yeah.
mean, if you have the inventory to keep up, and there's all these theories about the eBay algorithm that the more you post, the more active you are, the more sales you get because your items are more readily available in search. So just being active on eBay will help. And
I
just
didn't
like
know that.
post a few things each day, and like you're gonna see the consistent sales roll in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Definitely
I
that's like time management. You have to be consistent to be even worrying about time management, I feel like, you
and
know?
it's all around creating a schedule. So if you have your schedule that, okay, I eat dinner
Yeah.
normally around 6, then I hang out with the family, walk the dog, whatever, and then you can even multitask as you're sitting down to watch the Tigers game that starts at 8:10. They have a few things that in front of you, and instead of scrolling through Twitter talking about Kim Kardashian's new dress, you can list a few things on eBay. And I'm not saying you don't need entertainment in your life. Everybody needs to relax and have entertainment,
That's
but
true. We can't
this is
be
just me
efficient
thinking out loud
100.
also.
Yeah, no, I think I think it's good points. All good points. I'm trying to think any other time
I think a
management.
schedule is good too. Like that's something I
Schedule
looked
is
at.
good,
Like
especially if
because
you're
like I
trying to
have
take it serious.
like we have our live claim sales at 8 on
Yeah.
Thursdays, and then we normally record the podcast at 6:30 before it. So we have those in our schedule. So if
Yeah.
somebody like hits me up to hang out, I'm like, I can't hang out on Thursdays. I have like this planned already.
Right.
But that's if you're a little more into it, like we are with a weekly show. I know most of you guys don't
And
have a
then
weekly show.
yeah, that's true. And then I also try and do like specific shipping days. Like I try and get all my
Yes.
shipping done on one day. Or I have like 2 days a week I'll probably ship. Monday or Tuesday being one of them, and then another one close to the weekend, so like Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
So
And that's something I need to do too. It's good because I pride myself on fast shipping, but I see
yeah,
it makes myself kind of like frantic or like stressed out trying to, as stuff sells, like get it packed like right then and there, even
yeah,
though it's as simple as just putting a sticky note on it, OG Retro, putting a note that you paid and
yeah,
setting it to the side. Like you have your shipping days like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever.
yeah. So that's what I do. I do all my shipping in one day, and it can be kind of a lot. And if I get orders throughout the week and it's simple enough to just package up and throw in the mail, I'll do that. Like not a
Mhm.
big deal, and I'm free. But I think letting yourself like in your head know, and your customers know, like, listen, I ship 2 days a week, and like shipping is so fast these days. Like priority mail is like 2-3 days wherever it's going. It's like
Yeah.
even if there's 2 days in between the time they pay and the time you ship it, they're getting it in 5 days. Like
Going
that's
across
quick.
country.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. So like,
And I
I don't know.
know me and Ryan have the easy life.
Yeah,
What I mean by that is we don't have to take Sally to soccer practice. We don't
yeah,
have kids to where our lives are dependent around their schedule too. So I know a lot of you guys live
yeah.
more
They probably
difficult, time-consuming
we shouldn't
lives
even
than
be
we
talking
do.
about this because people are doing crazier shit than we are and doing this on top of it. So we
Yeah.
should honestly have someone else. We gotta have like dumpster night would be a fantastic person to have on about this topic.
Yeah.
He is a full-time reseller dad, bro.
Yeah.
It's like the we're having him on. I'm gonna talk to him. We have to have him on about this. So if you're listening to this podcast, Mike, you're coming on next.
I like that too. Like if you say you're at work and you have a thrift store down the road from work and it's on the way home, like if you got an extra few minutes, like pop into the thrift store on the way home,
Yeah,
spend 5 minutes, just scan it real quick. It doesn't have to be a long hour-long process where you're looking up the ties and the manufacturers of the ties to see what's money, but just pop in and see if you can find anything that you know is worth money, or on your lunch break. Like I like to go thrifting on my
yeah,
lunch break when I have time.
yeah. I moved recently, and so I gotta figure out like the new, like, there's no thrift stores like directly in my area like there were where I used to be.
Mhm.
So I have to figure out like because I want to go thrifting. So I was literally looking up this morning, like I searched like thrift stores near me. Like that's
Yeah.
literally what I put into Google. And there's a couple, and I might go. I'm like trying to put together a route where I can like hit a couple in like 20 minutes, like
Yeah.
driving wise, like the longest stretch would be like 20 minutes or whatever. And I think I can hit like, like a solid 4 or 5. So I might do that soon. But yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I miss hitting the thrifts, and
I'm so hit or miss with thrifts. They're so popular around here.
yeah.
Anytime I walk in, somebody's looking up stuff from the electronics, and anytime I walk in, somebody's looking up stuff in the video game section.
Yeah,
And I
but
know that's
all it
on
takes is
me.
one time, bro.
And I know that's on me for being a basic reseller, so reselling the two most popular things to resell: electronics and video games. I need to learn the freaking Ray Dunn porcelain pot thing and have that sell
Yeah.
for $2 grand. You know how long that probably sat in the thrift
Well, I
store?
always, dude, I always take a little quick trip through the pots and pans. Like I
So
look
do
for
I.
cast irons too, because
Yeah.
that's something I'm passionate about and like know about too. Which, I mean, there you go. Like you
I look through
can,
the golf clubs.
yeah. So it's cool, but we gotta have Mike on about this topic, and we gotta go to the next topic to say because we're probably running out of time here.
I got a meeting at 3, so we got 23 minutes.
All right. Well, anyways, what do we think makes something collectible?
We kind of already hit on it where it's like
Oh
what the
yeah.
kids grew up with, and now that they
Oh
have
yeah.
adult money, they can afford to buy this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, nostalgia right there, and like that makes something collectible. I think uh like trading cards are collectible because there's so many of them. Like Pokemon, it's exciting. Uh, art, that makes something collectible. I guess there's a lot of,
I mean, sports cards. You like the teams. You collect Detroit Lions cards.
yeah.
You collect New York. Have you gotten my package yet from me? From me? I don't think you would have told me you received it. It had the thrift store find I got for you.
No, then I definitely haven't gotten it.
I
No, I
need to
haven't.
look up.
Yeah.
I need to look up the tracking on that because it
Did you
has
send
something you would like in it.
you sent it to my
I sent it
new
to the new
address?
address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it
Talk
out.
about what makes them collect. I need to look at this now because I want to make sure this is going to get to you.
Anyways, I mean I really think we hit I don't know, dude. Like I collect things because they just have meaning to me. So like that's the biggest thing. And because they're cool. Like slight flexes, I think is something like being able to like show off your collection is pretty cool sometimes. Like being I guess more the word is more like being proud of what you have is cool. Like I don't know. If there's a lot of something that makes it collectible. The fact that there's so many things in like video games to collect and so many things in Pokemon to collect, so many things, baseball, whatever, to collect, like that inherently makes it collectible, you know?
And I think, all right, so back to what I sent you. I think it's supposed to be delivered tomorrow. Expected delivery tomorrow.
Let's go.
So that'd be cool.
I'm
But
excited.
I also think that like having like the brand name around something, it's something you like, makes it collectible. For example, Nintendo. Being a Nintendo collector, you have to collect everything Nintendo. You have to have the multiple 3DS systems that come out. You have to collect the Virtual Boy. And I never even knew what a Virtual Boy was. I'm never gonna play my Virtual Boy, but I have it because it's Nintendo and I collect video games.
Yeah, Nintendo's really good at that. Really good at making you spend money. I have like 5 Switches, though I just traded one for some good stuff. So I'm excited. And by the time this comes out, you guys are you I mean by the time this comes out, y'all will Christ, I can't speak anymore. Y'all will know what it is that I traded for. So definitely go give that a like on my profile at OG Retro on Instagram. Gonna be very
Plug.
sweet. Plug that right there.
And I mean, collect what you like. I mean, don't let other people influence what you collect. I know this is a cards and cartridges podcast, but say you like collecting porcelain spoons.
Yeah, or
Like,
coins, or I don't know, anything. Dried leaves.
we talked about it in the last podcast, like get a community, like join a community around it. It makes it that much more fun. Like Facebook groups or
Yeah.
local people or friends. It makes the appeal of collecting that much better.
That's a great point. You want to shout out the Discord right there with that wonderful segue?
Yeah, so we started a Discord. It's called the OG and Koozie Beers and Deals Discord.
Beers and Deals Discord.
So go ahead and shoot either one of us a message on Instagram and we can send you the link. I will also put the link to the Discord in the description of this video. So whatever platform you're listening on,
Perfect.
after you give us a like, comment, subscribe, review, whatever you can, because that helps us out a ton.
Yes, sir.
Join the Discord, link in bio, and
Very
feel free to, with a ton of great channels in there. Discord is free to use. If you've never used it, check it out. And then if you guys have any suggestions on how to make it better, please hit either of us up.
100%. Did we have any viewer questions this week, or
We did have a viewer question.
hit it, bro?
This week's viewer question, if my phone would recognize my face, is coming from our boy Ocelot 081414 on Instagram.
Okay.
He says, "What is the best card you ever pulled from a pack of cards, and what did you do with it?
Oh my
Sell, keep,
gosh.
grade, etc."
I'll do 2. So I feel like I have very vivid memories of pulling a dark Vaporeon reverse hollow from Legendary Collection as a kid. And I kept that bad Larry because it was sweet. And then recently, on my birthday last year, I pulled the Rainbow VMAX Charizard from Champion's Path, and that was epic. So I pulled it live on stream, and it was my birthday. So I sent that.
Awesome.
I'm looking at it right now. Literally, it's displayed right in front of me. I sent that in to get graded 9.5, 2.10, 2 subgraded 10s, which is pretty cool. Very nice card.
That's a high 9.5 then.
It's
Was
a
it
very
10,
strong
10, 9.5, 9.5?
No, it's 10, 10, 9, 5, 9 on the corners. Robbed on the corners. But yeah, 9.5 centering and then 10 edges, 10 surface, which is pretty, those are tough ones to grab. So but yeah, man, what about you?
I think the Rainbow Charizard from Champion's Path, and
Yeah.
I pulled 3 of those.
Me
I
too.
pulled one for D Triforce, I believe, during a
Yeah.
stream. Bought a Champion's Path pack for me for $8. Pulled one.
I remember.
I was bored just sitting here by myself like the day after, like 2 days after I pulled that one for him, and I pulled one just sitting by myself in my basement. And then
that.
my buddy was like, when Chase was hype, he came home and he bought like 8 Marnie, like the boxes with just like the 4 packs in them or whatever, 5 packs in them. And he owed me a box because I had gotten him one a couple days before. So I just grabbed a random box out of the stack and pulled one from that box. So he was ticked. And then, so I mean, that's one. And then I pulled the Hollow Charizard from Evolutions, and I ended up using that to help myself trade for a copy of Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And I graded the 2 ones I pulled for myself, and I think I graded 3. Yeah. So I graded the 2 rainbows I put for myself, and I bought one from somebody and graded that also, and all 3 received 10s.
Oh yeah, love it, dude. Love it. Was that the only viewer question, or?
Yeah, I think we're all set on this episode.
Oh yeah, guys. Well, like Chris said, make sure to give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, whatever you got to do to engage with the pod. It does mean a lot. Thank you as always for listening. Make sure to tune in live claim sales every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OG Retro. And next podcast coming out next week, Monday morning,
7
tune
a.m.
in, 7 a.m. Much love, guys. Thank you once again. Peace.
See ya.